Hey, we're the Flick Chicks.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Monica, and welcome to Movie 101,
Ooh.
where we teach you probably the worst lessons possible.
Oh my gosh, I love
And you
that.
learn nothing.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Maybe we should make a seminar, like submit to the University of Toronto, be like, hello.
Oh, yeah.
We're here to
Movie
teach film.
like Movie 101, like what do you learn from movies? Exactly. But it's like an anti-class, so it's like what not to do,
Exactly. Yeah,
There you
so
go.
today we're going to be talking, if you didn't look at the title, about 6 false lessons that movies have taught us. Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Just things that they've ingrained into our minds, and then you grow up realizing that's not true.
yeah.
If you're like us and put all your worth and value into what's happening in movies, then you're kind of screwed.
Exactly. That's literally it. It's like some people might be like, oh, I didn't learn that. It's like, that's how I learned how life works from movies. I don't know about you. So
Like, oh, you didn't know that? Like, come on. Like, you didn't have actual real life experiences? No.
shut up.
Jessica, I didn't.
Jessica, I hate her.
Anyways.
Sorry to the Jessicas out there. We don't actually hate you.
So, yeah, we're going to be just going through 6 different movie lessons. Basically just like bad movie lessons or things that movies try to quote unquote teach us that is just not true about real life,
or at least like make more that
they just need to stop.
Flip that on its head so that we don't get the same message over and over again, because some of this is literally just because of repetition, and then you're like
I know, because honestly, okay, as much as it's like it's just like a little joke, but honestly, like stuff in movies has a really big impact on how people like perceive life or perceive the world. Like it might be more subconscious than you think, but like you really like start to realize that what's happening in movies really does influence like
100%.
how you're thinking and how like your expectations for life. Like you might just be sitting there like, no, I know it's not real, I don't think any of that's real, whatever, but I'm sure there's something you've seen in like a movie or in a TV show or something that has somehow impacted your life and how you think and how things are. So that's why it's important to address the stupid lessons or like trends in movies that,
and
like,
I think it's the biggest thing is to
all,
make sure that it's okay if you don't follow these things. I think that's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing, because it's like I know some of these for me that was like hard to like I was like, what is it called, like the ugly truth, like just like it was hard to accept when you realize that it's not true. So I guess we'll just jump into it.
Yes, we can. I guess I'll go for the first one. I could say movies taught me that you're gonna have one clear talent or like a dream or something that you want to do, and that'll be your job. Like it'll be clear as day. Like you'll be good at dancing, so therefore you should be a dancer. Or you have a dream to be a pro football player, and that's what you'll do. So like I have a couple examples of movies like Rudy, Good Will Hunting, Princess and the Frog, Lady Bird. So all of these are like, I would say what they have in common is the main character is longing for like some type of freedom to be able to do what they want to do in terms of like career or like talent or whatever, and it's like society holding them back. Like everything else is holding them back, but they have a clear vision on what they want to do. Versus I would say for me that was not the case at all. Like it was like,
well, I was gonna say like also just in general like that everyone has like a thing, like you know what I mean. Like I feel like the idea that everyone has a thing that's like that's their thing, whether it's a talent, whether it's a hobby, whether it's like a personality trait, I don't know, but it's like just the thought that everyone needs to have one thing. And that's like so hard, because I always just like you can say you say what you want to say first, and then I'll go.
No, it's okay. I think we're gonna have the same stories. Like we've both said this. We're pretty good at a lot of things. Like
it's bad to say, but it's
I know. I'll speak for me at least. I'm good at math, but I'm also good at English. Like, and people have always told me that's contradicting. Like, how can you be like a good writer and also really good at math? Which is like not really
that absurd, but
it's not. Like, I'm like, it's pretty like totally possible, but whatever. Or I'll be really good at dance, and like I'm good at singing, but then like I'm like, you know what, this one's better than the other, but I also like both, and it's like, oh my gosh, like there's nothing to choose. And when I was in school, I'm not gonna lie, I literally kind of just closed my eyes in high school and kind of just pointed at a subject and went like, you know what, this one seems like okay with me. Like I feel like I would be okay with it. Not like I was like, this is the thing for me, it's clear.
Yeah.
I know where I'm meant to be. Like, I still don't know, like, to this day.
And that's the thing. And I think the problem with like people who are like, oh, I don't know what it is, it's because they still have that ideal of like, you need to have a thing. And it's like, you can have a lot of different things. Like for me at least, it's like I have like so many different hobbies and like interests, and the issue is that like I'm not bad at any of them. Like I have the problem where it's like if I'm not bad at something, I'm like, oh my god, this is it, like this is my unseen talent, like I just found my new talent, whatever, but then I realize I'm not amazing at it, and then I'm like, ah, shoot. So then I have a bunch of things that I'm just like,
at something.
Okay at.
Oh my gosh! Like I wish,
I was really into makeup for a while. I was like super into makeup, and I was like, I was okay at it. Like I was pretty good. I wasn't
you're
bad.
Very good at
I
it,
could do it, but I wasn't like makeup artist worthy, right?
Yeah.
And then I used to play sports a lot. I wasn't like freaking like NBA level, like you know that, but I was not bad. Like I was pretty good. So it was like I have so many things that are like that. Like I can sort of draw sometimes. I'm not amazing at it, but I'm not like terrible. I like to do a lot of things, like, and then it's just like I always just struggled, or like I like to cook. I'm not like Master Chef level cook, but like I can make a decent meal. So I'm like, I'm here like, okay, but like I was struggling a lot with like, what's my one thing though? Like I need a thing that's like me, you know, like everyone has their thing where it's like, oh, this person, like you're like a soccer player, you love to play soccer is your life, whatever, cool. Oh, this person, you like love to sing, you're like a singer, you love singing and that's your thing and whatever. And I'm just like, I don't have a thing. And then I'm trying to like really tell myself it's okay to not have one thing, because that's what movies tell you. It's like everyone is like so one dimensional, and it's like they only have one thing going for them, and that's like their personality trait, and like you have to realize that that's not like, you can have a lot of different hobbies and like talents.
And we totally get like for movie purposes, like you do need to like zone in on like their one thing, because it would be very difficult to like kind of plot that. But at the same time, I feel like they do, at least I'll say, especially for teenagers, I feel like they do a disservice to them. I think like, for example, in Princess and the Frog, it's less like in your face about that, because she like in the times, like, I don't know, 19 like whatever
20s whatever
you didn't like really have too many options. Like it wasn't like women were going to school like that, so her options were not like, you know, completely open. And she's really good at cooking, so she's like, I want to make my restaurant, and already at the time that was already revolutionary, so like that's a good thing there. But I feel like in modern day things, in terms of movies, especially high school movies, the person always knows what they want to do, and I'm like, sometimes like you don't, or they know where they want to go, but they'll never mention what they're studying. Like I hate that. And I feel like that goes into the whole, no one wants to address the fact that many students or many like people have no idea what they want to do with their life, and like movies just kind of want to tiptoe around that and be like, well, you know, you want to go to Yale,
put like a huge focus on like, I don't know what to do with my life, because they can't find their one little, and that like further perpetuates the idea that it's like, if you can't find your one thing, your one like purpose, then you're worthless basically. And it's like, that's
and
okay.
by the
like,
end of the movie they're gonna know. Like it's never like, oh, you let's ride on this like uncertainty and let's just go on with life, which is what you should do. That's what I would recommend. But they'll be like, no, by the end, like somebody will tell them like, this is what you're supposed to do with your life. How have you not seen it this whole time? And then oh my gosh. So
I just hate it. This like, it's literally something I've been thinking about recently, just because it's like every time I like like I literally tell myself, I'm like, I acquire new hobbies like they're infinity stones. Like every like 2 weeks I find a new hobby, and then I'm like, and then I realize I'm not bad at it, so I'm like, cool, new hobby. And then I have too many to keep count of, so that's a problem. But
you had to put it under your belt. No,
but it's
even
like,
this podcast
I like having
was like
stuff to do.
Was like a form of like a new hobby of like, and people would be like, oh, like, is that your thing now? And I'm like,
or even just like movies. Like for a minute I was like, okay, movies are my thing, like that's my thing. But then I'm like, but I have so many other things too. And it's like, I don't feel like I can put all of my energy into one of them.
I think it's good. I think it's good to be. It's hard to like see it that way though. I completely understand. But I think it's struggle, good. But to like, I am jealous of people who are like able
who have
to
a thing.
Yes,
I'm jealous too, because I feel like you don't have to think about it. No, like it's nice. I think the problem isn't like, oh, nobody has a thing. Like some people do have a thing, obviously. Some people have like their job is their thing, like professional singers, professional musicians, whatever. But I think it's more an issue of like, if you don't, it's okay too. You know what I mean? Like, am I jealous that people have one thing? Of course, because that's so cool. You literally have like a thing about you that's like really interesting, and that's like you're really good at, and it can literally define you, and that doesn't matter. Like, I think that's awesome. But I have to like accept the fact that doesn't apply to everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah. And I feel like, honestly, we're the majority. I feel it in my bones.
I feel like it's rare.
Most people are like, Jill or Jax of all trades, and then people who are special are the ones who are like on top and only good at like set few things. But
and then some people think like, oh well, I'm not good at anything, but it's like, it's not necessarily talent. It could be like an interest that you have, like you don't have to maybe you're into like emo music, and that's your one of your things. That's your thing. What I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And also, I feel like movies have taught us that we're like supposed to be amazing at it too. I think that's the difference. Like, they're like, you're supposed to be the best, and like everyone's gonna like love you, and like that's honestly, that's literally the plot of La La Land, if you think about it too. As in, like, they're trying to convince us that these, and that maybe that's why I really didn't like it. They're trying to convince us that these people like deserve like success, to be famous, because or success,
even though they're not that good.
Because they love it so much that they did like it'll come to them, and I'm like, not like, so I guess it's another thing to think about. But I think we should go on to the next lesson before we get like
too carried away. No, this one had like a special place in my mind, because like it's literally, when I looked at it, I was like, whoa, that's literally like, you read my mind. Like, I've been thinking about that lately. So okay, I'll move on to the next one, which is, movies taught me that if someone doesn't like me, it's probably because there's something wrong with me and I need to change it.
Yes.
This isn't that common, but like also pretty common. Any movie basically that has like a makeover scene just annoys me a little bit, because it's like, the makeover scenes are cool and all, but it's like, it's always just perpetuating that idea that like, if someone doesn't like, I've never, that I know of, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I've never seen a movie where it's like, oh, this person doesn't like you, or like, where the girl wants to like or a guy wants to get the girl, or the girl wants to get the guy, and it's not working out. They never say like, you know what, maybe they just don't like me, it's okay. It's always like, what's wrong with me? I need to change something. Like, I need to do all this.
Let's move on. No.
It's never like, you know what, maybe he's just a doofus, or like maybe he's just stupid and doesn't like, it's always like, oh,
or
what's
maybe
wrong
they're
with
literally
me?
like, is this shocking? They're just like not right for you. Is that not a thing? Like,
so like, things like, some examples that I just pulled up are like, the most obvious one is she's all that kind of, like the whole point is like, she's a little nerd, and then like she gets a makeover, and then whatever. Grease too. Grease is like notorious for like the worst movie message ever. Like, the ending makes no sense. Literally, it like the whole entire, that one actually pisses me off. Like, I don't know how people can watch Grease and not get angry. I'm like, what is the purpose of this movie? Because like the whole time she's just being herself, and he like clearly likes her but doesn't want to like admit it, because he thinks she's a loser, cool. Basically. And he wants to look cool, and then the only time he actually admits to himself that he likes her is when she completely changes her entire like look and everything, and then like basically lets go of her personality and please him, and then he's like, finally. And then
did he change? Like, was that wrong? Did he?
No, he just, all he did was wear a Letterman jacket.
Like, whoops.
Like, he joined a sports team or something. Like, that's not that. She like literally had to go and change everything about
get
herself.
some leather pants to put on. You know how hard
and like it was like, it's so stupid. So that's like a really popular. I put Pretty Woman as an example in here too, kind of just because like, she was like very not ashamed of the fact that she was like a hooker, right? And then she meets this like man, and then like he basically convinces her that there's something wrong with her. Like, I don't think I recall during the whole movie him being like, you know what, it's okay that you're a hooker, I like you. No, it's not. It's just like, she had to go and change. Like, he literally would like give her money to go buy nice clothes, gave her all this stuff so that she could like look nice, presentable, whatever. I put also Dirty Dancing a little bit, just because like Baby was super shy, which isn't a bad thing. That was the
weirdest one. They kept like being like, oh Baby, you're so like whatever, and I was like, what's wrong with she's just a normal girl,
like she's just a shy girl just trying to live her life, and then this guy, like, she likes this guy, and then the whole thing is like, how can I change myself for him? So she like starts getting all like mature and stuff, which isn't a bad thing either, but it's like, you could tell she's just trying to she's growing up
a little too fast. And then like, I guess for Pretty Woman, my biggest like I love Pretty Woman, but I do think, what is she gonna do? That was my biggest problem. Like, I'm like, what is, like, okay, she marries him, and then she's gonna do what? Like,
She be a housewife, I guess.
Like,
he's
yeah,
rich, so
he is rich, but I'm like, what are her dreams? Like, it would be cool if he was like, I'm rich, so you could just like stay at home and paint. Like, let's say she really likes to paint. Like, that would have been like, oh, I get it. But it was just like, no, stop being a hooker to become what now? Like, just,
that's why it's just like it's like it was just the whole thing was weird because it's like she was very like fine with the fact that she was a hooker, and then like he felt like he basically said, no, you need to change.
She was not
I
embarrassed
really
by
like
the
that.
fact. That's what I would say. Yeah.
I don't really like that in general as like a lesson. Like I said, it's mostly just subconscious, but it just puts that idea in your head that if someone doesn't like you, it's like you need to change something about yourself. Like I know that's a problem with me. Like whenever people don't like me, or like it just when people don't love you like right away, like my first thing is like, oh my god, I'm this, I'm doing this, that's bothering them, whatever. But I have to realize like it's probably not my fault, you know. I'm just living my life.
Even the Duff, which was like recently, tried to like pretend like it wasn't one of those makeover movies, but it still was, because like she still ended up wearing like better clothes and stuff, and you know, so it's like, I agree. I think it's like this stupid idea that I think the stupidest idea behind that is that you changing will actually make them like you. I think that's the biggest false lesson there.
Which
even if you
because I've realized that, because it's like no matter how much you change, it's not going to change the fact that
they're not gonna like suddenly be like, oh my gosh, like she's wearing leather. Like,
and if they do, that's that's a problem, because if they didn't like you before and they only like you, that means they're only liking you for superficial reasons.
It's really dumb. It's like it's 99% not gonna work, and then when it does, it's like trash, you know. Also Breakfast Club. They did that so bad. Really?
I honestly don't remember the Breakfast Club at all. So
the one where they changed the emo girl into a pretty girl.
And then the sports guy starts to like her, and it's like
I hated that so much. She looked so much better. Like I was like, why'd you make her? Ugh,
that was stupid.
So I agree. It's just not.
It's just a bad mindset to have, where it's like I don't think I've heard of any movie where it was just like, no, if you don't like me, it's probably just because you're dumb.
The only movies that ever do that, it's like it'll be like the person tries to change for somebody else, and then turns out like their best friend has a crush on them, and then they'll like go back to being who they are. That's the only time that
those
happens.
ones though.
I know. I don't like a false like love interest that's like superficial. Okay, whatever. We won't talk about it, but
okay. You can head over to the next one.
Yes. So this one's also like romance inspired, let's say. Movies taught me that boys are secretive about their feelings about you. Oh honey, listen. False. That is like the word. I like that one. That's plagued my mind entire life. I think it's plagued womankind to this day.
Or anyone that needs to deal with men.
My gosh. Okay, a couple examples: Clueless, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Bridget Jones's Diary, When Harry Met Sally, Silver Linings Playbook, 2 Week Notice. Bruh, I like Silver Linings Playbook, but that one is one of the worst ones.
Silver Linings Playbook was one of my favorite ones, but that's like very unrealistic. Like just any movie where it's like, no, the guy actually secretly liked you the whole time, and all you needed to do was just like open your eyes and go for it. No.
Are you crazy? Okay.
Like I still need to tell myself, if he likes you, it's because he would tell you. Like if he likes you, he would tell you, and you would know. I have to keep reminding myself that, just because there's so many movies that are like, no, he's actually just playing hard to get. He's just keeping it a secret. He's gonna reveal it whenever he feels like he wants to.
It's the worst. That's the exception, and you're the rule. I will always say that. If a guy likes you, you will know. You won't be confused. He will tell you. That's it. Point blank, period. They're like, what if he's shy? No. He will get out of his shyness.
There are subtle ways of telling you. And not like by tell you, it's not necessarily them going up to you and saying, I like you, but you will know, because they'll be always trying to talk to you, always trying to hang out with you, always trying to do stuff. Like they're not him
not texting you for an hour is not a secret hint that he likes you. Like, how does that make sense? But yet movies have taught me that this
him going and dating someone else is not him. I'm telling this to myself. Exactly. It's not him being like, oh, I'm trying to make her jealous. No.
I hate that one, but they do it so much in movies. They're like, oh, I only dated her because
yeah.
No.
To remind myself that sometimes too.
Or
like, I'm just crazy, but it's
this one's a little bit even more convoluted, but I'm gonna say it. Listen, if you tell a guy you like him, okay, because you're delusional. And he says he likes you too, but if there's a but, it's over. He didn't like you. He's just being nice. It's not true. He's like, oh, but I don't have time. No, he doesn't. No. He has time. He didn't have time to date you. But then you find out next month he's dating Stacy. So it's like, he had time for Stacy, but not for you. He doesn't like you. Like,
actually, you know the worst?
What?
This is so bad. I feel like I'm exposing myself right now.
I literally exposed myself. Like,
flirting with your friend is not is not you. It's not him trying to like make you jealous or get close to you. It's probably because he likes your friend. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, every girl out there, including myself, that is attracted to men, you need to realize this.
Is
because I didn't for a long time.
But all true stories, y'all, because it's just it's serious.
I'm just trying to get you guys to realize
him leaving you on red is not like intrigue, like
him leaving you on red and then texting back other people and not him just trying to like see if you'll ask him.
He's not doing the whole let me text her later. No, he's not texting you ever. He don't like you. Move on. It's just
girls are different though. I know so many girls that girls don't answer messages, but no.
This works for hetero, like, you know,
heterosexual
situations
men. Yep.
Where heterosexual men, and that's pretty much it. And it's the worst, and it's not the worst. It's the worst for us. They're being very clear, but
they're chilling. They're just chilling. They're living their lives.
This one is the hardest because you always movies make it so romantic. Like they're like,
I know, and that's the problem. It looks so romantic because it's like, oh my god, he liked him. He liked him the whole time.
I didn't need to doubt myself. Like all the haters were wrong, and it's like, no, they were right, honey. He didn't like
oh my god. Okay, let's move on before I get more sad.
Yes.
Okay. This one's also like they're all really important. I realize. Yes, these are all pretty important. Lesson number 3. Bad lesson number 3 actually. Movies taught me that high school is where I'll learn all the important life lessons, fall in love, make friends for life, and that once you leave, that's when your life officially starts.
Oh my goodness.
That is a problem.
Say it louder for the people in the back, please.
Oh my god. Because like why is first of all, my problem with this is that most of these high school movies are written by adults. So it's like, are you perpetuating what you missed in high school into these movies, or did you genuinely peak in high school? Because I'm confused. Like, did you genuinely have all of those life experience? Like, this could go for so many movies, like not even just the one, like there's like the whole like ones where like they fall in love in high school and it's like a big, like they learn so much about relationships and all that stuff. Or then there's the other ones where they learn like such important life lessons and like morality and everything, and it's like, that's it, now you're ready to go out into the world, and it's like, that's not how it works. Like it's really not how it works. Like I'm okay, just some examples here. Obviously like High School Musical, To All the Boys I Loved Before, Lady Bird, Booksmart, Grease again, Mean Girls, The Breakfast Club. Like there's just basically every high school movie just like puts high school in this like bubble where it's like, this is where you're gonna learn everything. Like people like myself, a lot of people can go all through high school never experiencing any of those things. Like never, like the movie Booksmart had something going for it, but it just falls because the whole purpose of the movie is that like they think that they missed out on everything during high school, so they want to do it all before graduation. That's basically the premise of Booksmart. And it's like, but like then you're perpetuating the idea that you have to have, like, it would have been nice, I honestly haven't watched the movie, but if at the end of the movie they realize, oh, we didn't actually have to do all these things before graduating, I'll be really impressed, because that is the message that you need to learn. You don't have to have all these experiences before like I know one of the things they wanted to do before graduating was like have sex, I'm pretty sure.
Sir,
because they were like, so like that's just the issue, is that the idea that like you have to do everything in high school. You have to like fall in love for the first time, you have to like make friends that you're gonna keep for like the whole rest of your life, and those things might happen. If that happens to you, like good for you, but it might not either, and you don't want to leave and be disappointed. And like your life can start at any time. Well, your life has already started. There's no such thing as your life starting. Your life is here. You've already started. You started the day you were born. So just go. Like it's not like one day your life is gonna start. It's just go about life. Like life just happens, you know.
And obviously,
high school movies are a little like double-edged sword, because it's like
they are definitely
things,
like that.
But it also gives you unrealistic expectations.
Unrealistic expectations. Yeah. No, I feel like obviously I'm biased because I am also one of those people who none of the, like literally nothing happened to me in high school except for bullying, so it's like So it's like, yay. No, but I just feel like I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel like the percentage of people who had all those experiences is like 30%. Like I really don't think
it's low.
I feel like most people actually get stuff done in college, like I feel, or university. I feel like that would be way more realistic if they did those. They don't make enough college movies.
And we're gonna like, I think you learn, like, I'm not saying you have to do other things, but you definitely learn a lot more in like university or college, or like after you graduate high school than you do in high school, in my opinion. Like you're still a child, like you don't know what you're doing.
Like in high school you definitely like flush out your personality a lot. I would say that it's a big thing. I think you kind of know who, I wouldn't say you know who you are, but like you know what you like and don't like. Maybe that's about it. But then in college, I feel like, or university, you kind of start to learn more of like what your capacity is. I feel like that's a big part of that too. And also, I think this is another unpopular opinion. I don't know, it's for me. I think like I kind of am glad I didn't experience like literally
honestly sometimes me too, because I know I would have been ready for anything.
I would have been the worst. One. Second, you're making permanent decisions for like temporary states, or like that's what I call it. So like it's like you're gonna make these choices based on something that's probably temporary, but those choices are permanent in terms of like how your life is gonna be. Like I was allowed to make a lot of mistakes, do a lot of stupid stuff. Not even that stupid, just like normal, like, you know, little kid stuff, and not have to grow up fast because I didn't like have a boyfriend who was like counting on me for whatever, or I didn't, you know, get into drugs, so I didn't like have my life, you know, on the line. Like it was just like I was allowed to live like a normal life and like care about stupid frivolous stuff, like is the next, you know, book coming out, or like is this movie
like,
gonna
did you see the episode of Pretty Little Liars last night? Or like, oh, I have to go to my dance class. Like, just like stuff like that, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
and like the teenage brain, I forgot what study this is. Y'all can look it up. But it's like the teenage brain does not handle stress very well. Like I heard about that. Like it's like we don't really emote properly. So I was glad that my level of stress was pretty much, you know, avoiding certain people in the hallways and like, you know, finding my homework. Like that's about it, you know? And like if Teen Wolf was going to renew for another season, like that's all I needed. Exactly.
Like that's the type of things teenagers need to be. That's why sometimes when like, I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but whenever like stuff that mostly like teens like to do, it gets like written off, and I'm like, but they're just like teens. Like this is the time where they just do stupid stuff. Like if teens are all of a sudden really into, I don't know what teens have been into lately.
TikTok. I don't know.
Like TikTok is very big. Like I'm thinking of like a specific interest.
Astrology. Anime is bigger now. You could say that. Like
like just anything, but like now. I'm thinking of something that only like teens are really into and everyone's been writing off. Like just okay, I'll do something very specific, and it's like TikTok dancing. Like you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's like, but people are like, these teens are so like dumb. But it's like if these teens, they just want to dance. Like just let them. Like they're teenagers.
Honestly, like I guess as a teen, one activity, and it's not really an activity, is going to McDonald's. Like that was an activity.
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll look at teens at the mall sometimes, and I'm like, they're so stupid. Look at these teens. They're traveling in big but at the end of the day, I'm like, that's what you do as a teenager. You go
like
your
life is your
17 closest friends to the mall, and you just like walk around, don't go into any stores. Like that's just what teenagers do. And it's like, let them just do teenager stuff. What do you want them to be doing? You want them to be filing their taxes and like I don't know, going to full-time like working desk jobs? Like they're teenagers. Just let them do.
I feel like definitely.
And I also feel more comfortable when I see like teenage couples were like very like in a very serious relationship, and I'm like like I feel like you're missing out on, maybe I'm biased because I was never in a relationship, but it's like I feel like you're missing out on like doing like just dumb things, you know what I mean?
Normal stuff, even like literally like basic stuff like teen parties, bruh. Like I don't think, unless you're one of those popular kids or like you have an older brother and sister, you're not getting invited to no little Getty unless you're like in grade 11 minimum. That's what I think. Like I'm like, or no like one
the
wants
to get invited to are not the ones that you see in the high school movies.
Like it's like we're in the basement.
You and like 10 other people, and you're all just like sitting around eating a slice of pizza and like playing music, or like,
and there's like boys there. Ooh, like literally like don't like, it's way too fleshed out. I don't know, maybe if it's an American thing, but I doubt it. I just feel like it's like who they're drinking like heavily. Like I'm like Are the police never around? Like, I don't understand how you guys
like,
can have a
whose
bumping
house is
party.
like the parents really allowed them to just have a party? Like, your parents are not just chilling upstairs waiting for everyone to leave. Like,
And also, like, I don't know, at least for my school, it wasn't like parties or everybody got invited. The cool kids got invited to parties. Like, it wasn't
only, like, specific there wasn't the party where it's like anyone can show up. Like, those are ragers, and those are the ones that end up on the news the next morning.
Exactly. It's like,
that's
yo,
if you don't want to go to.
If you're not friends with Veronica and Jessica and Becky, you're not getting invited to no parties. Like, what do you mean? Like, oh, let me just show up.
It's just not like high school. Like, just the portrayal. I guess you could just say the portrayal of high school in general in movies is not really a good lesson, because then you kind of leave thinking, oh, I didn't do any of the cool stuff, but like, no, you did what you had to do, and that's it.
Exactly. How do you know where Jessica's house is unless you're invited? Like, you don't just know where she lives. Exactly. Oh, jeez.
All right, so we can move on to lesson number 5.
Yes, that is me. Sorry.
That's
Movies taught me that I'm always the hero. So I feel I have to explain this one just a little bit, but
I guess the more trendy term for it now is that you're the main character.
You're the main character. Exactly.
The teens have been saying this day.
Yeah. Everybody these days, the cool kids, everybody is the main character of their own life, I guess, in their minds, right? And I'll even go like deeper, specifically even from like when I was a Wattpad girl and I was reading my Wattpad books. Every time the girl was into a guy, there was his girlfriend or his love interest who was just a dumb, like, you know, that nobody cared about, this one like flat dimensional character, and she was rude and she was evil just because your love interest was interested in her. And then like in my mind, I'm like, wait, you stole her man. Like in her mind, you're the evil person because you just came in, you know, doing stuff, but like in your mind you're like, no, I love him, so it's my right to come in here and
something
all
borrowed?
Crazy. Sorry. Anyways, that's a really good one. I also put like Iron Man, even if you want to go like not even in the love sense, but like Iron Man, they do address that in the other movies, but still, he's like saving the world, but like there's a lot of people who hate him because like it's like you were, you know, unknowingly funding weapons to the enemy. And like, you know, I don't care what you're doing and who you think you are. You have caused pain to my family, and that's it. Point blank, period, you know? Yep. Maid of Honor. That's the one where he's like the best friend and he ends up stealing her from her dude. Tall Girl. Literally, homegirl is in a love I don't even want what pentagon. Okay. And she's kissing 10 different guys in like one episode. I mean, one movie. And we're supposed to like feel bad for her. Like I was like, what? Why? Like I don't know her. Sierra Burgess is a loser. My gosh, that one was like even the worst. Set It Up, Mean Girls, Just Friends, The Proposal, She's All That, 16 Candles, The Duff, A Cinderella Story, every Wattpad book ever. Like there's so many movies
just that like that no matter what you'd like the whole main character idea where it's like it's just a flawed concept because yes, technically everyone is the main character in their own life, because if you're talking about movie main characters, it's whatever. Like, you can't compare your life to a movie, because in a movie it's written, there's a structure to it. Yes, there's a main character usually where you see everything from their perspective. So obviously you're going to be the main character in your life, but you can't go about acting like the main character, acting like your actions don't affect other people, and that like you can't be the quote unquote villain in somebody else's life. You can be that, or like maybe you're the main character in your own life, but you're the side character in somebody else's life. And that's fine. You don't have to be the main character in everybody else's lives too, you know? And that's why whenever I see like the teens, the youngins talking about that, like I'll go on TikTok sometimes and I'll see people, like someone's just like doing a TikTok and then someone will comment be like, wow, you're definitely the main character. Like that's like a personality trait where it's like you're like very important, or like you seem like you live such a cool life and like you're the main character. But it's like, I don't like that, because the whole idea that some people are main characters and some people are not. Like you're basically just telling people, yeah, your life is worth something, your life is not worth something.
Yes, like your story is worth telling, you know?
Like that, yeah.
And it's like,
and I don't like that.
All stories, I think, are worth telling. Like, I think there's always a nuance to something. And like, what if you're the mean girl, you know? Like, you always think you're good. I think like even Tina Fey actually addressed that, which is pretty funny, is that she wrote Mean Girls, and as you know, as you people know, But she talked about how she was the mean girl in her school and she didn't realize it like until she was older. And it was like she wasn't like a big bully and stuff, but she would like talk about people and then people were scared of her because she was like super smart and like, you know, intimidating. And it's just like you don't realize these things about yourself or how maybe you're the antagonist in someone's life. Like you just people are way more nuanced than that. And I think it's
way
too
more complex. Yeah. It's not like I don't like the idea of attaching like movie roles to people in real life.
Exactly.
It's not the same thing at all.
Yeah. Like you're the hero, you're the mean girl, you're the antagonist, you're the side character. You're the, you know, extra in the movie. You're everywhere because like people are people and they like, you know, they take up different roles.
Every person is like as because it's hard to look at other people and imagine them being as complex as you are. Like the only person that you really know their complexity is yourself because you know all your thoughts, all your
exactly.
Like it's hard to look at other people and imagine that they are probably having the same amount of thoughts in their head that you are.
Exactly.
So, but like you have to realize that everyone is having like millions and millions of different.
Everyone is just as complex as you are. I bet you that. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way of putting it. Yeah. So that was my last lesson. I think.
All right, so the final lesson here, lesson number 6. This one pisses me off actually. Like this one irritates me. Yeah. And because this is like also like this one probably irritates me the most because you see this a lot in like children's movies.
Yes.
And that's like a bad lesson to teach your children. So the final bad movie lesson is that underdogs will always win in the end. And I'll tell you something right now, they will not.
Nope.
No. So there's a lot of underdog type of movies. You know, I just have some really specific ones here, but like Camp Rock 2, Karate Kid, Rebound, Pitch Perfect, La La Land. You just made me think of La La Land when you're talking about La La Land. Any like sports movie where it's like the ragtag group of kids that like only practiced for like a week and they somehow beat the team that's been practicing for 2 years straight and are amazing players. Like that's just it's fun to watch, but like in terms of a lesson that it teaches you, it's just not a great lesson. I was reading an article about there's a movie called like Planes, I think, where it's like one of those Disney I've never seen it.
The Disney cartoon you're talking about.
Apparently this one plane who has like no talent whatsoever somehow wins the super experienced plane, and the guy in the article was like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like he has zero talent.
Yes.
And it's true because it's like you can't. Like, that's why this is, like, you're getting into, like, parenting tips and stuff like that. But that's why I don't like the idea of teaching kids where it's, like, you know, what is it? Like, oh, even if you're not good at something, you still can win. You still can.
If you work like, really, really hard, you can.
Really hard, like, you will win in the end or whatever. And it's like, no, sometimes you're just not good at something and you just need to find something else. Like, it's not a big deal.
Sometimes you a loser. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's
and sometimes it's like, you might, like, the better lesson would be to teach, like, you might not win all the time in life, but it doesn't mean you didn't have fun. It doesn't mean you didn't learn something. And that's why, like, I'm going here Camp Rock 2 for an example. So I think I've seen a lot of people talking about this recently for some reason, but, like, we all know that in Camp Rock 2, Camp Star should have won. Like, objectively, their performance was so much better They did
win, though, technically, but it's
Camp Star?
Yeah, Camp Star won.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, Monica.
Oh, yeah. Oops, I forgot.
I thought you were talking about the fact that people wanted to go. That one was actually, I thought you were going to use it as an example of that wasn't that bad.
I actually forgot that they lost. Never mind. Okay, yeah, it is a good example because let me flip my argument then. Camp Rock 2 is a good example of this because although Camp Rock lost at the end, it made sense because Camp Star was way better and way more talented and their songs were way more interesting. So there you go. I don't know why I thought that they
the thing where I thought, the argument where you could make is technically a bunch of people started going back to Camp Rock because they were like, oh, you guys look like you have more fun. But I was like come on now.
Like, they did technically have more fun. Like,
they did.
It was like rigorous, but they did deserve to win Camp Star.
Yes. Camp Star definitely deserved to win.
But there are movies that will, like Karate Kid, for example. Like I saw one where it was like, how did this kid win against like black belt Taekwondo people? Just by like washing cars for like a year. Like there's no way he could go and win.
It wouldn't.
It's supposed to be like inspiring and like be like, oh, work hard. But then again, it teaches people that like all you have to do is work really, really hard, and then you are gonna win. And it's like, well, I think you should think to yourself, if you have to work like 10 to 20 times harder as everyone else just to get to the same level, maybe it's because you're not that good to begin with, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be bad at something. If I want to go and win in a boxing match, I'm gonna freaking lose because I suck. So it's like, You can't, like, there's no point in someone coming to me and telling me, do you want to train with me 5-6 days a week for 1 year so you can go beat a boxing match? I'd be like, no, because if I have to train that much, it means I probably shouldn't be boxing in the first
like,
place.
I'm not,
you know?
yeah.
If I don't have the drive for it to begin with, then it probably isn't going to be a good idea, you know?
I think
so
the biggest problem I have is that they don't have enough failures throughout the movie too. I feel like that's a big, like it should be, like, they should not be afraid of time. I feel like their problem is they do the underdog story in like 2 weeks, or they'll be like, oh, it's a month or whatever. Give me like years of practice of, like, somebody like
Pitch Perfect example of this too, because like they were like fighting throughout the whole movie, like they did bad, which I guess is like the failures you're thinking of, but then how did they somehow come together and make a perfect performance in like such a short amount of time? Like that doesn't make any sense. You need to be like, okay, you did bad, they should have went to nationals or whatever it was, lost, and then the next year be like, okay, now we're good. Like that makes sense. But, like Pitch Perfect, like it's the underdog story, like they all came together, whatever, but like it just didn't make sense when I was watching it.
It didn't.
They could somehow come together with a perfect performance.
They shouldn't have won. They should have like maybe come like the closest, like second or something, like because they did really well, and then they could have, you know,
or they could have just showed them not being that bad throughout the movie, you know, like
actually you're right,
actually had talent, maybe they should have done a little bit better, but the main issue wasn't that they were bad, was that they were just fighting with each other. That would have been fine, because it's like they're talented but they just don't get along, but they were like bad and then they somehow became good,
because so okay, like they were bad at the you're really right. No, I like that they won, I can't lie. I like a winning, but you're right, they should have made it more realistic, like less real, more, because I feel like they tried with the when they were doing the freestyle stuff, they were really good, but they failed to, they showed them being so bad at choreo too. I think that's where you're kind of like, because like their singing was always fine, like they did the riff off and they were good and all that stuff, and they had like that natural chemistry, but it's also like, why are they all really bad dancers? They needed to be good. And also like La La Land is one too, because it's like throughout the whole movie they've been struggling, like they did not seem extraordinary in the slightest. This girl's auditioning for new movies every other day and she is not getting anything, which means she's probably not that good. And then he's just trying to play music and nobody cares. And then you mean to tell me because she gets one role, all of a sudden 5 years later she's like a movie star? Like I mean, I get, does it happen in real life? Possibly, but also it's just like, it's just not teaching you the best lesson, where it's also like if you're bad, just keep going and maybe one day you'll be amazing, because sometimes you're not going to be. Like, they just didn't show it off enough. Like they should have. There's so many things they could have done with her. Obviously there's so many talented people who don't get cast in Hollywood, like we're not denying that at all, but those people will do other things that'll showcase. You'll have situations where people will be like, you're really talented, but you just don't have the look. That's something that I could like get. Or I could see her like, she wants really to be an actress. You're just very generic. Like there's nothing special about you. Like, cause it's hard, because when there's so many people, you need to stand out. And exactly. That would have made sense. Or like you could have seen her like she was like a, like what it was, her movie was like a Broadway musical was her movie, or she made like her own play of herself, whatever. We should have seen her doing like musical theater or just theater throughout her life, like as a job, and then she's like trying to break out into like the movie star role, and like obviously she would have talent if she's in theater, because like you do need to have somewhat talent to do that. Then I would have believed her. Like if some musical theater kid was like, I want to make it big, I would have believed him, because I'm like, musical theater, that's hard. Like that means he's good. Like that's what I would. Nothing convinced me that Emma Stone, whatever her name was, and Mia would have deserved to become a movie star. Like I was like not convinced. Like I was like, her one woman play sucked. People said it was bad.
Like, that's the problem too. It was like we saw evidence that she was bad, so it was like, how did she somehow become good, you know?
Again, like, and again we saw evidence. And
I think it was unrealistic too, because the idea that you could walk into, I don't know if this is true, I don't work in Hollywood, but the idea that like there's an audition that'll come where they don't even ask you to act, they just ask you to tell a story, and then they'll hire you and write a whole movie around you, around some nobody. That is not what happens in Hollywood whatsoever. So like that's why it's like it seems like an underdog story.
If they're asking you to do that,
so, like unknown, and then she somehow became so known because of this one movie. It's like, but that doesn't happen though. Like,
no. If they're asking you to do that, that means that they already casted the role and it's not you, honey. Like they're like,
it sounds like a scam. If someone were to come into the house like an actress and they said, "Oh, all you have to do is just tell us the story. We're gonna write a whole movie about you." It sounds like they're about to scam you. Like
you next thing you know, they're gonna be like,
"Okay, now you have to just pay us $500 a month, just like a courtesy fee," and then there you go.
That's silly. The only ways that would happen to you are like three things. Okay, you know someone. For example, Mindy Kaling was so successful after her show and stuff that literally Netflix approached her and said, do you want to make a show about your life? And then that's how she made Never Have I Ever. After years of being like in like, she worked for the late night show, a lot of stuff. So you have to be up there. 2, maybe if you're lucky, you somehow meet like a book author who's like, they're making a movie and I want you in it. And then that would make sense where you would get, that's knowing someone. 3, I don't even know. Sleep your way to the top. Like that's
or you're like, no, sleep your way to the top, or you're like related to somebody famous.
Yes.
Or you're like, you have connections basically.
Or you're like Issa Rae would have been the closest to what they were trying to do with this one, where Issa Rae had Awkward Black Girl, which was like her series on the internet, like her YouTube series. Like she just made it herself, and then HBO saw it and they picked her up. But her thing was popular, like a lot of people were watching it as a web series, and then they're like, oh, we can make it a real series, like on a real show. And then she was good. So like her little one woman play needed to have way more traction than with it. No.
Like it would have made more sense to me if like she did her one woman play and it like somehow blew up, like it got like organically, like a lot of people, it got a lot of attention, so that she got that audition, and then that audition opened things up for her. That would have made sense. But she was struggling the whole time, and then like somehow she just broke out, and it just didn't make sense. And that's like the whole thing where it's like you see the person, the underdog, struggling the whole movie, and then somehow they win in the end, and it's like that's not really a good lesson, especially when it's in kids movies, because it's like you need to show kids that like you have to be good at something to win, and it's okay if you're not good at something, and it's okay if you lose. If you like it, then that's fine, you know. I don't want to teach my kid that like too much. That I mean, obviously you want to encourage hard work and all that stuff, but I don't want them to think that you work hard and you can get anything you want. That's not true. It's not true. Like you can get a lot of things, just not everybody's a winner, my friend. Not everybody. Exactly.
Well
there we go.
Those were depressing lessons, though. Not gonna lie,
but I think the point is that I like we talked about this a lot, but I just want movies where, like, I always use The Edge of 17 as an example. It's just like it's just the gold standard for like realistic, relatable movies. And if you want to make a realistic, relatable movie, like you have to just follow that example where it's like life is just complicated. Not everything's stereotypical. Not everything is. You know, like that movie, I just love it because it has all the aspects where it's like you have a main character. She doesn't have a thing, right? Yeah. Like the whole movie. It's not like she has one thing. She kind of struggles to find herself a little bit. You know, we have this boy who it's like we're kind of led on to the idea that like, oh, maybe he's like secretly in love with her or whatever. But by the end, they don't really end up together. Like at the end, we just find out he just really likes her as a person and he wants to be her friend. And like, somehow get to that. That's realistic. Yeah. And like, you know, like she is kind of dealing through the same things like where a lot of people deal with, where it's like you think that everything in your life is really complicated, but then you have to realize that like it's complicated for a lot of people too, and like you need to just face your issues, like, you know what I mean? Like I just always use it as the gold standard just because it's not like
I loved it because Edge of 17 showcased the kind of the lesson of like I'm always the hero. She thinks she's the hero. She thinks oh, everything I think is right, everyone's doing things to make my life harder. But she's not realizing how she's acting.
Exactly. If anything, it challenges every lesson that we talked about.
Every single one. Because the guy was actually really clear about his feelings. Like, it wasn't even quiet. Like, he was like, do you want to, like, hang out? Like, he was
asking her to hang out, tried to kiss her, tried to do all these things. And then also, like, the first one where you said if someone doesn't like me, it's probably because something's wrong with me. That's what she thought at first. She thought, oh, that Nick guy doesn't like me because there's something wrong with me. Yeah. And then she changed herself, got all pretty, got all forward, and then realized that no, he doesn't actually like me. He just wanted to have sex with me. So then she realized, oh, I actually need to work on myself to get someone to like me, you know. And like you could literally go for Aldo. You think the underdog will win in the end because she's like struggling. You think at the end she's gonna get the guy, be perfect, but at the end nothing's perfect. She just kind of okay, I can move on now.
Yeah. Ugh, that movie is amazing.
It's so good. Like I don't know how many times I'm gonna be able to talk about this movie. I'm gonna mention every episode, but if you haven't watched The Edge of 17, I really recommend it. It's really relatable.
Do it.
Yeah.
It's
anyways.
It's so good.
So that's today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you're not like us and don't make movies your personality trait.
I know. We're just that's what we're trying to help you, you know. If movies are your personality trait, here's what not to fall into, you know, because you don't want to, you don't have to endure the pain that we have had to overcome, because now you're here. So You're welcome.
We learned a little bit. That was your movie 101 lesson for today. Please go check the syllabus on the course website.
Mm-hmm.
My office hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Okay?
Exactly. Love
Make
it.
sure you subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Instagram at FlickChicksPod. And what else do we have to do? Oh, yeah. Give a 5-star rating. You know the
5
drill.
stars.
If you're here, it's because you know the drill.
You know the drill. You know what's up. And thank you for being a real one.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
Thank you for being a real one. And we'll catch you guys next week for another movie review.
Perfect.
Will it be a classic? Will it be a new movie? We don't know.
Who knows? Bye.